there's been a new lesson, like, almost like every single that's where we're at the end of the we're almost at the end of the year, but it's like so much has happened, so many realizations and growth. I think some of them is just I think one of the biggest aspects that I had to learn was, trust in myself, trust in my own intuition, because there's a lot of points in time, there's a lot of things that happened in my life, whether last year, this year, past years, that that caused me to doubt myself or to question what I was doing, or if I was on the right path, or whether I was good enough or any of that stuff. And so it's almost like that was one thing that I had to that I learned along the way is that the importance of trusting in myself, trusting in that voice, trusting in that in my intuition or where I was being or what felt right at that time, but also having an overall vision for where I wanted to go. Well, even at times where that might have been a little fuzzy or it might have changed slightly, but just kind of like staying true to like just knowing that what the path that I was on was to work with people, was to serve, was to create breakthroughs, was to create change. At least for me, as I as I continue on that path, as I continue on the path of learning and growing and learning new things and working with people, it's almost like by doing that the act of serving, the act of working with people, it in turn created changes within myself and just being persistent with that, as well as kind of staying firm and true to what I've been doing for years now, many years, in terms of the personal growth, the personal development, constantly improving, working on the mindset, getting exposed to different materials, trainings, mentors, upgrading my skill set, and regardless of whatever anybody else said or whatever their opinion was, just holding firm to what I believe to be true within me. And that goes back to the trust. So the trust in self. And yeah, don't get me wrong, there's times that it was a little bit difficult. It was a little harder than others. And I was definitely challenged. But I was fortunate in those moments of time to be surrounded by different coaches and mentors remind me who would remind me to trust in myself, or they would help me to be able to reframe or to see something in a slightly different light so that I could have that aha moment, so that I could have that new realization, and so that I can continue to grow, so that I can continue to evolve, and so that I can continue to move forward on this path that I am right now. And so that's another realization. Just continue. That's the second one. Just continue to grow. The importance of that, and just knowing that whatever happened in the past, good, bad, right, wrong, or whatever it is, it's like nothing. It's like it all goes down to interpretation of what those events mean in your life, because an event can happen and you can view it as like the best thing that ever happened to you, or an event can happen and you can view it as like the worst thing, right? And like same event happened, it's just a matter of how a person views it. And so for one person it can be the thing that propels them, right, to continue going, and then for another one it could be the thing that crushes them, right, and just causes them to lose confidence, causes them to lose motivation. But even if that happens, it's not the end of the world, because even when they're down in the dumps like that, they could funnel all that energy, funnel that event, whatever happened in that event, and just use it to propel themselves towards whatever that goal is that they have. It's almost like adding that fuel to the fire. And so nothing's really good or bad, it just is. And so, yeah, just being able to see that in my own life and to be able to experience it and just be able to continue to practice it, even in situations where it might not have been necessarily that easy, but to be able to continue to just keep working and just keep taking those steps forward. Just kind of holding true to, what I believe to be, what my teachings and the things that I've learned, which is just constantly doing the inner work, And if stuff's happening in life that isn't necessarily getting the result, just do the inner work and uncover the root cause, right? Uncover the reasons as to why that might be happening, and to become more clear, to become more in alignment with what's real, what's real for you, or what aligns with the values, even if that means making a shift in the mindset, right? Or either consciously or unconsciously, or shifting or making a change in the with the energy or perspective in terms of letting go of maybe a way that a way that you might have previously done something in the past. And to give you an example, like I mean, I do a lot of to up to this day, and that's really what when even when I got out of the dry cleaning business, right? It wasn't really the most. I look at it now. I'm cool with it. It was a fun experience. But yeah, that's kind of looking back at it now in the heat of the moment when I was in it. Hell no, it wasn't really it wasn't really fun. At that time, it felt like I was in a jail, in like a self imposed a jail that I couldn't get out of. But I can say that now because like I'm out of it. But it's like, oh, even from there, it's like, oh, what happened there? Why was that situation created, right? Or it's like, what did like, what was like, why was I in there, right? And it's like, yeah, heck, yeah, that crushed me. It created a lot of physical pain within my body, to the point where you know, I have to remember that this is a new audience that is probably listening right now. And so, like, my old audience, they already knew all that story, and that's kind of like what they knew me for. But like when I was in that dry cleaning business, I had a lot of physical pain because I had a lot of stressors in my life. I had people around me, I had situations around me that were creating stress, and that was showing up in my physical body to the point where I had a lot of tightness and tension in my neck and my back and like different parts of my body, to the point where I could barely even like turn my neck to the left or to the right, and I had difficulty getting in and out of the bed in the morning time, or getting in and out of the car each day. Like there was some mornings where like I would purposely put the alarm clock on the other side of the room on the days that I would have to wake up, and then the alarm would ring, and I'd kind of have to get up myself out of the bed, right? But it would be so difficult because my body was in pain, and so like I literally had to like roll over, and to the point where I kind of get off I put my feet and knees onto the floor. And then so I imagine my knees are on the floor and then my hands are on top of the bed, and I had to kind of almost like push myself up to a standing position. And then from there, I had to like walk over to the other side of the room to like turn off the alarm. And I did this because I was just so overworked and so tired and exhausted that this is how I put the alarm clock over there to make sure I woke up, right? And I just hit the snooze button. But, like, when I would just the action of, like, moving from one side of the room to the other, I was literally taking, like, baby steps because, like, my body was so stiff. It was in pain, and, it's not a fun place to be, when you're, like, moving around so slowly, like, you're stuck in, like, a 70-year-old body, and at that time, I was in my 30s, right? So to be, like, moving around like I'm in my 70s, it sucks. And then even like I remember one day, like when I was in the dry cleaning business, and then I had a coworker, like I was doing my work, and then like a coworker was like, he's just kind of making fun of me a little bit, but he's just like, "Oh, hey, grandpa." I was like, "Hey, grandpa," and I'm like, "Huh," it's like, and then it's like at that point, I'm like, "Oh crap," it's like, I got this guy calling me grandpa. It's like I'm in my 30s, like I'm not old yet. Okay, yeah, yeah, maybe I move old, and like it's like I look all beat up and stuff like that, but it's like, no, man. It's like, no more of this crap, It's like, and so that was one of the changing moments for me where I was like, you know what? It's like, can't keep doing this,